Okay, so I saw this video.
The fuck off. We're tired. We're tired. Okay? Black success. Boom. Inappropriate concept. Anything black.
So what he's saying is he noticed that the algorithm, anytime you put anything black, Black Lives Matter, Black success, they don't let you post it. They'll say like Black Lives Matter is a threat, but if you put white supremacy, it can go through. So I thought, as a computer programmer, maybe I can explain how this is done, because I also read an article that says that this is unintentional, that TikTok said that. I'll run through this little bit of code and then I'll let you decide if you think it's unintentional or not. But I think everybody needs to know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I can't say how they do their code or what languages they use, what computer languages, because it's many. But I know one thing you can do is what we call regular expressions. You can search for a word and replace that word with something else. Or I could block a person from posting if that word was in there, right? So let me just go through this really quick. So this is what's called an HTML document. HTML is just a programming language, not really a programming language. It's not a programming language. It's a markup language, right? And so we use that to put, input boxes on our pages. We put buttons on our pages. We can put images on our pages. That's what or paragraphs, text and things like that, and videos and audio. That's what HTML allows us to do, right? Then we have another language, styling language called CSS, which allows us to make this bigger, smaller, change the color of the background, change the color of the words, move it around and stuff like that. I didn't use any CSS, but I went straight to another. Now, this is actually a scripting language, a computer programming language, JavaScript. So JavaScript allows the user to interact with this page. So once the user inputs something in here, we can grab what they put in here. Like if you were filling out a form, once you hit submit or create account, we can grab that user's data and start to sanitize it and manipulate it, right? So I'm going to put Black Lives Matters in here, right? And so that's the input box, right? And so I gave it a nickname of Michael. It's an ID, but to make people understand it, I just gave it a nickname of Michael. I can name this whatever I want. I can name it user input if I want, but I'm going to name it Michael, since computer programming is designed to mimic human behavior and communication. And we're going to call Michael and tell Michael to do something in a minute. Then I have a button. I use HTML to put a button on my page. And in the inner HTML, I said, hey, make sure that says post. It could also say add to cart. We all seen that before, but this is going to be a post because I'm mimicking kind of what the guy did when he realized what TikTok was doing. Now, this is how you tell the browser to use another programming language. So I'm saying, hey, okay, now we're using JavaScript. So use JavaScript protocols to process this information in between what we call the opening and closing HTML tag, right? So what I'm saying is when the user clicks the button, on click means when the user clicks the button, I want you to call Mika. That's a function, right? I can call this function anything I want. I can call it post because that's the functionality that it will be doing, posting this. But I'm going to use a person's name so it just makes sense to everybody. So I got to put Black Lives Matter. I keep making it disappear. So let me copy this, right? So now, when a user clicks the button, we're going to call Mika. Mika's sitting here like it's like little worker bee, right? And it's sitting there and it will only do what it's supposed to do when its name is called. So when this button is clicked, then Mika is like, here I am. And I'm telling Mika to do something, right? So what I created was basically to make this not so confusing. If I tell you to remember a color, whether you realize it or not, in your memory creates a space, a container, like a space, a drawer in your memory, and it labels it color, and then it puts whatever color I told you to remember. So to mimic that in computer programming, we tell our computer to create a space in memory, in our kernel, in our memory, and label it text. Then I need you to search the document. This is the document. All of this is the document. I need you to search the document, get an element by its ID. These are called elements, right? They're HTML tags, but once you put content inside of it, now it's called an element. Find an element by the ID of Michael. Michael, like you're talking to me, and grab Michael's value. This is the value that's inside of Michael. So it grabs Black Lives Matter and it puts it in a space in memory with the label text. So it's really inside of here, right? I know it doesn't make sense, but it's inside of there. Now I need you to search the document again, get an element by ID, Michael again, grab that value. So pull it out of memory because I told you to save it there. Now pull it, because if I was to ask you what color did I tell you to remember, you would pull it out of that memory called color and tell me what color I told you, right? So go in memory and then, get that value. And this is what we about to do. So text, remember I told you the value is inside of here. So it's also inside of here. Black Lives Matter is inside of here. Now we're going to sanitize or manipulate that data, right? We want to replace something in this string, this phrase that we saved in this content. So if you see the word black, right? And I means it can be lowercase or uppercase. Replace it with the word all. So when I click the button, it's going to call Mika. Mika's going to take whatever I typed inside of there, store it inside of here, but then put it inside of here. Then I'm going to call that information back from that memory. And then I'm going to say, hey, go inside of there, check that phrase or data or string or list of characters or whatever you want to call it. And if you see the word black, replace it with all. So when I click the button, that's exactly what it's going to do. Now, if I put Black Lives Matters back in there again, and I take away, and I spell black wrong, just say I just put lack, right? Instead of black, right? And now I hit the button and it doesn't change anything because it doesn't see the word black, right? Now, if I put lowercase, it still sees black and change it to all. Or I can say, change it to this is not allowed, right? And so if I put Black Lives Matter again, it sees black, and now it says this is not allowed. Or I can alert like it did him. Let me correct that. Sorry, Butterfingers. And now I can also say here, let's see. Now it's going to spit it out here and it's going to alert. So let's say Black Lives, let's say Black Success. This is not allowed. And this is not allowed. And it still used success. It didn't touch success because that's not the word black. So if you think that is something that is unintentional, right? Coding, it has to be written, right? Somebody has to write it. Even though I know they say machine learning supposed to get smarter, but still somebody taught it, right? Just like you teach a child. When you're programming, it's like you're building a brain. It's like you're developing a child and then you're teaching it its ways of that you want it to go, right? And so somebody had to put that there. So I just wanted to show everybody that.